Happy Sunday, everybody. Just figured I'd come in a little bit early on my weekend and try to knock out a couple little things. We got a super busy week coming up this week. Sean and I actually are only gonna work a couple days because we're gonna go on family vacation, but I just wanted to introduce you guys to probably a new project on this channel. I don't think I've covered any of it in past videos, but this is a chassis, and this is kind of the foundation of a really cool ochre and white 72 C10 that we're going to build for a guy named Matt Ryan. Super cool dude. We've been hitting messages back and forth on social media for a really long time, and ended up finally settling on a plan. And so over the past 6 months now, we've been ordering chassis and motors and transmissions and all kinds of really cool stuff. So anyways, this is it. You guys have seen these before. This is a No Limit Engineering ProTech chassis. This is specifically 67 to 72, and it is a raised rail drop spindle chassis. So if you guys like that, you know, really low stance like the yellow and white truck is, that's also a raised rail drop spindle chassis. So if you guys like that real low height, raised rail drop spindle is what you want. So that's what this is. Some of the features that we select when we build chassis for guys is we do the Delrin bushing upgrade. The Delrin bushings and the control arms will just have a much longer service life. You know, they're self-lubricating Delrin plastic. They're just a superior bushing for $120. The other thing that we've had really good success with over the years are the Flaming River road race rack and pinions. So these are a Mustang style rack and pinion from Flaming River. These have held up really well. I've never had a failure, no leaks, no nothing out of those racks. So we always upgrade that. I think those are $560 upgrade. So those are the common upgrades we make to the front end. I don't ever do powder coat simply because I like to, you know, check the metal finish. You know, if there's any little grinder marks or dents or anything in the metal, we like to fix those before they go to powder coat. Some of the other options that we select, we like to do the Detroit Speed floater kits. So Rob and Tina always set me up with longer tubes so that Dylan and I can cut these dudes down and build full floating 9 inches with the Detroit Speed kits. We always opt for the RideTech R joints. The R joint is just a super heavy duty, really long service life Heim joint. It's not even fair to say it's a Heim joint. It's more of a Johnny joint and Heim joint mixed together. However, there's no urethane in these. These are built like on a taper so that as they wear, they get tighter. Anyways, we do this so that there's roll in the bars. Imagine if the chassis stays, you know, if the chassis wants to lean and the rear end is obviously on the ground, you know, the bars have to be able to twist. So having a bushing at the back, you know, they need to be able, the joint has to be able to roll. So that's why we do the RideTech R joints up front. They're investment cast stainless, super heavy duty military grade stuff. So we do that. We've also started to machine our own Delrin bushings for back here. Again, just a longer service life. You know, these urethane are okay. They just, well, for one, I don't like the red, and for two, the Delrin is just a better material. So it'll last a lot longer. And again, it can have a better movement than the urethane can even. So that's one of the little upgrades we do. He's always got a spot on the raised rail chassis for a battery box. We use our anti-gravity battery boxes in this location. Rob builds the fuel tanks. And so anyways, this is the introduction to what Matt has coined as Old Yeller. So this is gonna be a really fun one. We just got a brand new crate LS3 430 horse motor and T56 from Bowler. So that's gonna get mocked up in there on Monday morning. And then we've already got the body here too. So we're gonna go ahead and start putting the body on. That was an original long bed truck. So we sent the body, I just spit. I'm not gonna spit at the camera, sorry. Anyways, we sent the body to Hoosier Hot Rods and they cut down the bed sides and did a little rust repair. So we'll put a couple pictures in here of that, but it's back. And so we're gonna go in like full mock-up mode now. This is the drivetrain. Like I said, it's a 430 horse crate LS3, which is a pretty common thing for us to buy. The reason why we buy the 430 horse motors, well, they're a really great motor, bang for the buck. And then we will pull the cylinder heads, send those out, have them CNC ported, and then we'll put Brian Tooley camshaft, valve train in it. So kind of beef that motor up. They'll make right at 500 horse to the tires, which is perfect. T56 Magnum, this is a close ratio unit, aluminum bell, and we always do McLeod or McLeod, whatever you want to call it, twin disc in those. So anyways, I just wanted to do a quick introduction to that. So okay, thank you. Fast forward, today's Wednesday. So Dylan and Peter really have been working hard on Old Yeller. So we're going to show you guys a little bit about where they're at, mocking up the body, and they've actually got the motor and trans sitting in the frame. So I'm going to show you guys some of that, do a little update, and then they're working on mounting the bed this afternoon. So a lot of you guys have questions about how to raise the bed floors up. Well, the good news is we're actually going to release a kit that will come with the appropriate spacers and bolts and instructions for doing a no limit raised rail chassis. So that'll be in the future, but we're going to go ahead and do some video now to show you some of the steps for at least getting the bed floor raised, getting it leveled on the frame, and then how to transfer those measurements into the bed sides and headboard, so you can actually make the changes to those panels too. So anyways, here's the frame, or here's the truck. So in the last video, you guys saw where Peter had the motor sitting out on the stand ready to go, but they've got it in. They've got the angle of the motor and transmission pretty accurate for now, at least until we can get it on its wheels and tires with all the weight. But motor mounts are all bolted up. They went ahead and put the valve covers and intake manifold and all that stuff on to make sure that it all fits. But looks awesome in my opinion. And then if you want to look inside, you'll see how we cut the floor out to fit the T56 Magnum. So if you guys have ever looked on our website, we sell a fiberglass extended high hump for these trucks. And so the factory high hump usually stops like right here, and you would end up having to cut it off and fabricate to extend the factory steel high hump. So our fiberglass one comes all the way back to the seat rail, this little raised section under the seat. So you just cut the floor out, put threaded inserts in the floor, and then our fiberglass high hump comes all the way back here. But you can see that the shift rail comes really far back on these 256s, so that's why we make these go so far back. This is that 1991 454 SS truck. I don't remember if it was on the frame table in the last videos or not, but we had this frame sandblasted and got it up on our frame table. So we've got this table to where we can level the table, and then we can weld. Well, in this case, we welded this one to the table. A lot of times we'll build bolt-on brackets and bolt them to the table, or bolt brackets to the frame and then weld those to the table. But in this case, this frame's pretty wide, so we just went ahead and tack welded it to the frame, and then we'll just cut all that off later when we're done and metal finish it. But these are those, if you've seen on our social media, and I may have shown them in the last video, but Zach made these little raised sections of the frame that he's got grafted in. These are some cross members that we got from obschevyracing.com. These will end up getting welded in. We're gonna do a Watts link on our Ford 9-inch, so this one actually may not work since our Watts link is gonna be in this area, but we're gonna wait and see till we mock that all up. We're gonna box this frame. If you can tell, we took all the cross members out of this frame because we're gonna box all the way from the factory front end all the way to the back of this notch. And then we're gonna come in and build our own frame stiffener with transmission mount in it. And then we're gonna build a cross member up here because we're gonna do a torque arm. Our torque arm rear suspension will pivot off of a cross member that's up here in this area. So this one's actually gonna be really neat. I know a lot of you guys are excited to see some of this. Peter went ahead and has cleaned up some of the front suspension. We're cutting off the upper control arm tabs and cutting out the old spring pockets, and we'll do some more video of doing the front suspension and rear suspension, but at least you can see some of this work that's got. What we're trying to do now is just, these are brackets that come from the limit that determine like how much height you need to get above the rail. But they don't send you spacers. They put these kind of at the stock height in case you wanted to leave this section lower. But we don't do that. We just move the whole bed floor up. So what they're gonna do now is, like, we've got the frame set level, and like our little anglometer will zero it to the frame, and then we check the cab, and we've got the cab setting at 0 too, and so now we'll get the bed floor at 0 degrees as well. So what we're going to do now is find the right height of spacers we need, and we're going to manufacture those spacers. But that's it. Bed floor is where it needs to be.